XueFeilu Fiction Network A.level contracted novel. The judge of Food Halberd comes from Zongmang, system. Master, do you want to become even more powerful? Just exchange the school uniform of Shaving and Painting Rina for it. Lin Xiao. System, you pervert. Shaving and Painting Rina. Lin Xiao, your halberd eating requirements are so abnormal. Shizaki Kuangsan said, Lin Xiao, if you make a dish that satisfies me this time, I'll give you my suspender socks. Lin Xiao, if this dish tastes bad, be careful of my electromagnetic cannon, said Misaki Osaka. You are really a big pervert, said XueFeilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Journey Through. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. There is no edema in the lung lobes, 36 grams of pleural effusion, severe eye whitening, and suspected death from shock. Lin Xiao held a surgical knife in his hand and gently swung the body in front of him. Lin Xiao's profession is a forensic dissector, and for him, his daily job is to face corpses, dissect them, and analyze their causes of death. Due to the particularity of his profession, he has been single for a long time, and besides working, his other hobbies are watching anime. Just as he was about to undergo another surgery to check his heart condition, a sudden wave of dizziness hit his heart and he collapsed to the ground, losing his breath. Let's take a look at our challenger, Lin Xiao. Oh my goodness, he was scared unconscious in front of the chef's table. A creepy and sharp voice host was continuously outputting into the microphone. You dare to take the dark halberd with such little skill. Hurry back and drink some milk, don't come out and make a fool of yourself. A big man wearing a mask took off his shirt and threw it into a ball towards the audience. What a waste of everyone's time, said a man in a suit and mask disdainfully. I don't know where this little guy got his courage, a woman wearing a mask and wearing seductive red lips said disdainfully. Lin Xiao propped himself up on the floor with both hands, struggling to get up from the ground. A long string of information floated in his mind like a nuclear bomb explosion. Lin Xiao is no longer the dissector Lin Xiao anymore. He has traveled to the world of halberds and has become the legendary chef of the Lin family. As for why he stood here, it was because his father was deceived by others into gambling on cooking skills, losing his family's ancestral property, the Yellow Crane Tower, and facing his ancestors silently. In the end, he chose to commit suicide in his own kitchen. Although Lin Xiao used to be a qualified chef trained by his father, he is still young, only 16 years old, and has almost no social experience. Under the provocation of Yamano Shimazu, who deceived his father into gambling, Lin Xiao's mind became hot and he wanted to seek revenge. He then took out his family's ancestral recipe and prepared to have another gambling match with Yamano Shimazu. Who knew that Yamano Shimazu had someone pour sleeping pills into Lin Xiao's drinking water before gambling? Lin Xiao had just taken a few cuts with his knife when he took the stage and felt dizzy. He then fell to the ground and slowly lost consciousness. Yamano Shimazu saw Lin Xiao lying in front of the chef's table, with a demonic smile on his lips. He knew his plan had been successful, and Dark Eater wouldn't care why you couldn't cook. Their evaluation criteria were only one, which was whether the dishes were delicious or not. The winner was the taste, and the underground cooking PK could add any bet, even if it was with your own life. Yamano Shimoji's movements slowly slowed down, and he knew he had the chance to win. Suddenly, a hand rose from below the chef's table, as if a demon had extended its claws from the abyss. Lin Xiao felt that his body was a bit soft now, as if he couldn't exert any force, but he still slowly stood up. The most surprising thing was that Shaniexyati had already taken enough sleeping pills and watched Lin Xiao drink the glass of water with his own eyes. How could Lin Xiao stand up and compete with him at this time? Take a look at our Lin Xiao contestant. He might have gone to his dream to seek comfort from his father just now. Look at his strong hands, I don't think he can even lift the pot. The host, wearing a mask, used his eerie voice to reluctantly descend into the pit towards Lin Xiao. Garbage, go back and drink some milk quickly. It's embarrassing to come out like this and participate in some kind of dark eating halberd, the onlookers mocked without hesitation. Even Yamano Shimazu, who is the opponent, has a curved mouth. Even if you stand up now, you can change anything. Time has left you with no time to make a decent dish. Yamano Shimazu thought while accelerating the operation in his hand, striving to complete his dishes quickly and giving Lin Xiao a fatal blow. Didi, Didi. Didi, welcome the master to the world of, the spirit of eating halberds, I am your system. An elegant female voice rang in Lin Xiao's mind. Lin Xiao finally managed to digest the information he had traveled through. At this point, a system came out. Is it true that the traveler must carry a golden finger? What system are you? Lin Xiao hopes to know the functions of his own system. Master, I am an equivalent exchange system. You can exchange anything in real life with me, and of course, my equivalence is something I can say, the system gently prompted. First, tell me what things can be exchanged now. Lin Xiao was curious about what he could exchange. Didi, the search is in progress. The search is complete. Master, as long as you win the set of kitchenware that Yamano Shimazu is currently using, you can exchange that set of kitchenware for a C.level recipe with me. The system lists a large row of A.level recipes for yourself. Of course, I will give the host a beginner gift package, which won't make the host suffer too much. After speaking, Lin Xiao saw a red gemstone in his hand that others couldn't see. Lin Xiao pondered inwardly, it seemed that winning the mountain and wild governance alone was not enough. He had to bet on that set of kitchen utensils as well. Lin Xiao's dark eyes turned and suddenly came up with a solution. He picked up the pumpkin in front of him and threw it onto the ground, angrily cursing, "Old thief in the mountains and fields, you have so little confidence in yourself. You have to use this despicable method of drugging me, a 16-year-old boy, to achieve victory." Yamano Shimazu clearly did not expect Lin Xiao to say so directly. Little rabbit, don't slander good people. What does it mean that I'll give you medicine? It's about cooking here, not about any scoundrel. Yamano Shimazu clearly wouldn't admit such a thing. Mountain and wilderness thief, the most despicable person is you. If you have the ability, let's add one more thing. I'll bet my hands on your set of kitchen utensils, do you dare to agree? Lin Xiao's voice appeared very fierce, as if he had lost his rationality. Yamano Shimazu's mouth curved again, but he didn't expect this kid to have lost his sanity and even hit the gun barrel himself. Since that's the case, let's just go with the flow. Yamano Shimazu put on an angry look and said, if there's anything I dare not do, I'll add more bets and use my kitchen utensils to bet on your hands. What is our poor Lin contestant saying? He even wants to increase the bet. He wants to use his hands to block Mr. Shanya's kitchen utensils. Is he joking about his culinary career? The host began to mock Lin Xiao without hesitation. The enthusiasm of the audience was suddenly ignited, and the entire field began to heat up. It was a long time since we had seen such a bloody cuisine piqué. Only Lin Xiao slowly lowered his head and raised a curve at the corner of his mouth, knowing that his provocative technique had succeeded. A red light that others cannot see fell into his head. Congratulations to the owner for obtaining the novice reward. Cooking skill. Rui fire. Let's use this competition to wash away our past humiliations. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. The judges are not ordinary people. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Rui fire. You can control the size of the flame according to your own wishes. Lin Xiao saw the introduction of Rui Hua, glanced at the ingredients on his table, and then glanced at the remaining time. The current situation was very unfavorable for him. Although Yamano Shimazu's methods are a bit despicable, his culinary skills are real, and adding medicine is nothing more than adding a bumper. Moreover, Yamano Shimazu's current cooking has come to an end. He is making a cabalone sashimi, preparing to defeat Lin Xiao with a pure seafood flavor. Yamano Shimazu did not expect that Lin Xiao would lose his sanity at the final moment, and then dig his own grave to increase his conditions. The increased conditions were also related to the future of a chef, making his mood start to soar. Although Lin Xiao used to be a planer, he still has the ability to cook in his daily life. After all, he used to live alone and had to eat and drink on his own. Lin Xiao picked up 2 eggs calmly, smashed them into a bowl, and started stirring the eggs with a blender. Yamano Shimazu saw that Lin Xiao actually chose to use eggs to fight back, and the slightest concern he had in his heart completely dissipated. Eggs, as a mass-produced food, could not possibly compare to his carefully prepared autumn knife fish sashimi. Yamano Shimazu lowered his head and quickened his speed, finally completing his autumn saber sashimi perfectly in the 10 minutes before the end of the game. An iceberg made of crushed ice, with sliced meat of the autumn knife fish inserted inside, exquisitely resembling an artwork. Next to the main plate, there are also 3 small plates. This is the sauce carefully prepared by Yamano Hiroshi for the autumn knife fish sashimi. Try my new dish, autumn knife fish trio. Yamano Shimazu confidently walked towards the judging panel with his plate. Lin Xiao then paid attention to the jury table, and he began to complain crazily in his heart. Are you sure you're here to be a judge for the person with a few balls floating behind their back and a hairstyle and face shape that looks like Uchiha? Hello, and there's also that good-looking loli. Her beautiful pupils are sticking one red and one yellow. Don't think I can't tell that this is Sakamoto-san during COS. There is also the one next to him wearing a golden armor, which looks quite handsome, but the shining marks of Kos are also too obvious. 3 sets of autumn knife fish sashimi were placed in front of the 3 judges, and the guy who looked like a shining golden man crossed his hands and hugged his shoulders. He looked at Yamano Shimazu indifferently and said, "Zaxiu, if it's not delicious, you'll die unsightly." Hello. Do you want to learn your lines too? In Lin Xiao's heart, 10,000 grass mud horses were galloping. The person with COS Uchiha raised his head to look at Yamano Shimazu, and then stared at the plate of Akagi fish. The black jade in his crimson eyes quickly turned. Watching this scene made Lin Xiao almost vomit blood. Hey, okay. You can still control your beautiful pupils. Oh my, it's sashimi, said the seductive little loli, who licked her lips during COS. Yamano Shimazu is clearly a seasoned battlefield, and when faced with this situation, he doesn't panic at all. He said, "Master Ban, don't worry, this dish is definitely to your taste." Lin Xiao almost knelt on the ground. Big brother, you're probably not playing me, are you? Is this really a halberd eating competition here? Are you sure it's not cosplay on .site? You still call him Mr. Ban? Are these judges really those legendary anime characters? Yuji Boban finally stopped his spinning blood-will eyes and said, "I hope you don't disappoint me." He picked up a piece of sashimi and dipped it in a plate of green sauce before putting it in his mouth. A special freshness erupted on my tongue, as if I were swimming in the sea with a group of sorry fish, so carefree and free. The seawater wrapped around my body, but it couldn't hinder people from gliding freely. Yuji Boban suddenly fell into a state of intoxication. Shizaki Kuangsan also casually picked up a piece of autumn knife fish sashimi and dipped it in the slightly reddish sauce of the second plate. When she put the autumn knife fish sashimi into her mouth, the cool fish fillets suddenly made her put on a bikini, shaking her slender thighs and playing with Sherdao on the beach in the wind and waves. A slightly sweet taste slowly permeated her cavity, as if she was full of vitality. Finally, Jin Shanshan took out a pair of golden chopsticks from his treasure trove, then picked up a piece of autumn knife fish sashimi, dipped it in the third plate of sauce, and slowly put it into his mouth. He, who was originally expressionless, instantly erupted into a frenzy. The freshness erupted in his mouth, and the spiciness lingered for a long time, making him feel as if he was lying on the beach, basking in the scorching sun and the waves hitting him from time to time, feeling very comfortable. Yamano Shimazu saw the three judges trapped in the expressions of helplessness for a long time, feeling very proud in his heart. He turned around to look at Lin Xiao, who was still calmly cutting ham over there. His heart was even more peaceful, and there was no need to worry about Lin Xiao having a chance to defeat him. "Come on, let the judges rate it, let that silly kid know what true cooking is," Yamano Shimazu shouted arrogantly at Lin Xiao. He knew that there were still 5 minutes left, and Lin Xiao had not even started the fire yet. There was no time to cook, and he had a safe chance of winning the game. Under the reminder of Yamano Shimazu, the three judges without hesitation swung their pens on their own scoreboard. Yuji Boban gave 8 points because the first dish of sauce made him feel the vitality of youth. Shizaki Kuangsan gave 9 points because the second dish of sauce made her feel the beauty of playing with Shido. Jin Shanshan gave 8 points because the third dish of sauce made him feel relaxed. You should know that Wang cannot show fatigue in front of the people. What kind of terrifying score is this? The three judges gave a total of 25 points, and you know, our perfect score is only 30 points. Let's take a look at what Lin Xiao is doing now. Oh my god, he's only starting to light a fire now, and there are only 5 minutes left. It seems that Lin Xiao's hands are about to say goodbye to him. The host exclaimed at how Yamano Shimazu could achieve such a high score with a simple autumn knife fish sashimi, and didn't forget to mock Lin Xiao, because he knew that the dishes made in 5 minutes could never match this autumn knife fish sashimi. Hurry up and surrender, maybe the mountain and wild chef is in a good mood and doesn't want your hands anymore. I think his hands can be used to make braised hooves, it must taste good. I think so too. Maybe my family's wealthy family likes to eat it. Ha ha ha, this kid is so funny, he's still there with ink stains. Lin Xiao turned a deaf ear to everyone's ridicule. Although these three judges surprised him, his professional spirit began to show. He stood in front of the chef's table, his almost indifferent demeanor exploding throughout the entire competition, because he used to be a planer, and his job did not allow him to have too much emotion. Every cut was so precise, and emotions would only hinder his performance. Even if he is cooking now, it is the same. Lin Xiao has also entered that state, everything is so precise, so emotionless. Lin Xiao placed 3 bowls filled with egg liquid on top of the steamer, and the audience who were still mocking Lin Xiao were suddenly stunned by his next move. Lin Xiao poured a little alcohol directly into the originally small flame, and the Rui fire was activated. In an instant, a fire dragon rose into the air. Lin Xiao changed his technique, and the flame was like a toy in his hand. A huge flame vortex wrapped around the plane's steam cage. The audience is going crazy, everyone is starting to guess what kind of food Lin Xiao is cooking, and how amazing his fire control skills are. Yuji Boban opened his bloodline eye again and carefully observed Lin Xiao's every move. He didn't expect this young man who had fainted on the field to have such magical fire control skills. Jin Shanshan's expression continued to remain indifferent, and this action did not make him change his attitude towards Lin Xiao. Shizaki Kuangsan dragged his chin with both hands, licked his tongue around his lips, and squinted his eyes at Lin Xiao, not knowing what he was thinking. Under the control of Lin Xiao, the originally fiery flame vortex began to gradually shrink, leaving only a few small flames slowly burning under the steamer. Just as everyone thought everything was about to end, the originally young flames erupted again, like brilliant fireworks, fleeting above the steamer. The tempting aroma had already begun to permeate the entire venue, and everyone couldn't believe that the man in front of them who had fainted in the dark eating halberd could make such a tempting dish. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. The end of the competition. You are listening at novel full.audio. Dida, Dida. The second hand walked to the end of time. Time's up. The host's voice circled inside the venue. Lin Xiao opened his steamer with one hand, and a whirlwind erupted, forming a whirlwind over his cooking. A stronger aroma permeated the examination room. Fortunately, it didn't disappoint, just finished. Lin Xiao finally finished his cooking at the last second before the end of the competition. Shanyexia looked at Lin Xiao fiercely, his gaze like a demon from hell, wishing to capture Lin Xiao into the 18th floor of hell. However, Yamano Shimazu still has confidence in himself. Even if Lin Xiao completes it now, it may not be as good as his autumn knife fish trio. After all, the cuisine made in 5 minutes can be so delicious, and that flashy flame operation is nothing but self-deception. Lin Xiao's steamer emitted a large amount of mist, lingering for a long time. Everyone was curious about what kind of egg dish this guy was making. In their perception, it seems that there is no egg dish that requires ham, and it is steamed in a pot. More egg and ham combinations will choose stir-frying. As the mist slowly dissipated, others finally saw clearly that Lin Xiao's cooking was actually a bowl of egg custard. Yamano Shimazu looked at the bowl of shiny egg custard and instantly understood why Lin Xiaojiang had to manipulate the flame like that. For a bowl of egg custard, the most important thing is the control of the heat. Only with perfect control of the heat can the deliciousness of this dish be fully realized. If excessive high heat is used for stewing, this bowl of stewed eggs will lose its original activity. If low heat is used, it is difficult to maximize the flavor of the stewed eggs. Lin Xiao expressionlessly took out 3 bowls of egg custard from inside, placed them on 3 trays, and then brought them to Uchiha, Jin Shanshan, and Shizaki Kuangsan. Lin's exclusive secret recipe, egg custard, give it a try. Jin Shanshan's nose twitched slightly, and his originally frosty face quietly dissolved a lot. Seeing the glossy surface of the bowl of egg custard in front of me, my heart couldn't help but move. I didn't expect this person who fainted on the competition field to have such strength. The 3 judges picked up a spoon and put it into their mouths, and the feeling of melting at the entrance erupted instantly. At this moment, the 3 judges were flushed, as if they were immersed in a huge hot spring, constantly steaming hot air. As they chewed again, the ham filled in the egg custard began to erupt, with a crisscrossing texture constantly passing through their mouths, as comfortable as someone massaging in a hot spring. As she swallowed it in one gulp, the touch of baby-like skin ran down her throat, and this delicious taste was truly amazing. They lifted their spoons again, still unsatisfied, and put a spoonful of egg custard into their mouths. The rich sense of happiness erupted once again. At this moment, the 3 of them were already soaking in the hot spring, with a towel on their heads. The warm water flowed around their bodies, enveloping them in an endless sense of happiness. The 3 judges were unwilling to break free from such a happy environment so quickly and quickly took another bite of the egg custard. Yamano Hiroshi watched as Lin Xiao's egg custard became less and less. In the end, the 3 judges were actually licking Lin Xiao's bowl. On the other hand, there were still many fish fillets left on his autumn knife fish trio, and a hint of unease began to intensify in his heart. Is there still something? Is there still something? Yuji Boban shouted at Lin Xiao holding the bowl that looked like it had just been brushed, unaware that he had lost his composure. Lin Xiao didn't expect the reviewer to have to eat again. At that time, there was not enough time, so he didn't do more. I'm sorry, only 3 portions were made. Helpless, Lin Xiao could only express his apologies. That Yuji Boban smashed his mouth, with an expression of still wanting more, wishing he could eat another 3 big bowls. Jin Shanshan quickly coughed twice before waking up Yuji Boban. He had already lost his composure in public. Next, let's announce the score. The host found it hard to believe that Lin Xiao really made a dish in just 5 minutes that could rival the trio of Yamaguchi Chikuchiu. Without hesitation, Yuji Boban raised the scoring card, on which two large characters were written with flying dragons and phoenixes. Shizaki Kuangsan's face was flushed, as if he had experienced something indescribable. He slowly raised the sign, on which he also wrote a big 10. Jin Shanshan pondered for a moment and raised the sign, which gave him a score of 9. Miscellaneous repairs. The taste is good, but there is still a gap between what I use as a chef to make it. Oh my goodness, this is probably the highest score I've ever seen, with a total score of 29 points. Let's congratulate Lin Xiao on winning this PK. The host shouted out the result of the game, and the whole field was in a boiling state. The man who fainted on the halberd competition field actually won the game, which was like a huge slap, slapping all the audience's faces. Impossible, impossible. Yamano Shimazu's face was almost twisted, and he didn't want to believe that Lin Xiao could defeat him in just 5 minutes. He cheated, he must have cheated. Yamano Yamashita shouted at Lin Xiao in an almost twisted voice. Jin Shanshan couldn't bear to see the expression of Yamano Shimizu, who had lost but still refused to let go. He used his chopsticks to tap the empty bowl in front of him. The crisp tapping sound through the microphone made the entire venue quiet. Za Xiu, who do you think you're cooking for? How can Wang's food allow unpleasant flavors to appear? Look at the sauce in these plates, everyone has 2 portions untouched, and you don't know what that means. Also, look at the fainting player on this field. Although his egg custard is ordinary, each of us has eaten it all, which shows that his cooking is much more complete than yours. Za Xiu, if it weren't for space limitations, I would have shot you long ago. Jin Shanshan angrily cursed out the final judgment. Uchiha and Shizaki Kanzo nodded slowly while listening, expressing agreement with this statement. So according to the agreement, let's hand over the ownership of the Lin family's restaurant and your kitchen utensils to Lin Xiao, otherwise don't blame us for being impolite. Yuji Boban's words were like a knife, fiercely piercing into Yamano Shimizu's heart. Unexpectedly, he had prepared so many backup moves, but still lost to the young man in front of him. Lin Xiao lowered his head, and the bangs in front of him covered his eyes. No one could see his expression. He walked up to Yamano Shimazu and said, I'll save your life for you first. My father's life is far more than that. Don't worry, I'll play with you slowly to make you understand what life is better than death. Lin Xiao made a mistake and turned to face the audience, showing a brilliant smile as if declaring his victory. Yamashita stood in the same spot, stunned. Suddenly, his whole body trembled, his feet softened, and he collapsed on the ground, feeling lost and unsure of what was going on in his mind. Lin Xiao did not choose to leave, but walked up to Uchiha and asked, Excuse me, are you really Uchiha? For the sake of your victory in this halberd eating game, I'll tell you, I am Uchiha. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. C.level recipe. You are listening at novel full.audio. Subsequently, Uchiha, Jin Shanshan, and Shizaki Kuangsan walked into a small black door and disappeared in front of Lin Xiao. After Lin Xiao and others disappeared, they realized and said, My grass, that's Uchiha. Damn it, he didn't get anything from him. It's a loss of blood. If we could get the suspender socks of Kawasaki Kuangsan, wouldn't it be a profit? At this moment, Lin Xiao was deeply saddened. Subsequently, Lin Xiao arrived at a secluded and uninhabited place and took out the set of kitchen utensils. Master, congratulations on getting the kitchen utensils from Yamano Shimoji. Here are all the C.level recipes, and you can choose to exchange them with me. The gentle voice of the system echoed in Lin Xiao's mind. Don't rush to change, let me ask you something. Will the judges still be Shizaki Kuangsan in the future? Lin Xiao obviously couldn't forget Shizaki Kuangsan's suspender socks. Master, every time the judges are randomly selected, let me remind you again that the judges' personal items can also be exchanged with me, and can be exchanged for even rarer things. The sound of the system is full of temptation. Damn it, you should have told me earlier. That's Shizaki Kuangsan. I don't know if I'll encounter him again next time, but it will be a monkey year and a horse month. Lin Xiao was deeply regretful. Is there still a set of kitchen utensils that can only be exchanged for one recipe? Is there any valuable information that can be exchanged with me? I'm a bit confused about the situation now. Lin Xiao followed a cautious principle. After all, he didn't know his situation yet, and getting more information is not a bad thing. This is the first time the owner has exchanged with me, so I will send the owner a free intelligence message. Since Lin Xiao's father died, all employees of Huanghe Tower have chosen to resign, and the restaurant is currently in a state of imminent closure. The system slowly prompts. Lin Xiao touched his chin and didn't expect his situation to be so bad. Although he had won back his father's restaurant, all the soft conditions had already been destroyed. There was no chance to get so many kitchen assistants for a while, and he didn't have enough funds to reopen the restaurant. There was only one storefront left, which left Lin Xiao a bit at a loss. Master, I suggest you choose a recipe with Chinese flavor, which will help Yellow Crane Tower get started again. The system reminds you. Lin Xiao realized this by saying that his own Yellow Crane Tower was originally famous for Chinese cuisine. It is estimated that once again, it will attract some old customers to return. Lin Xiao's fingertips rolled back and forth in the void, and finally lightly landed on a red recipe. It was decided, he said, D. Congratulations to the master for getting the level C recipe, mapo tofu. The sound of the system suddenly became mechanical, like flowing water, and began to transmit something to Lin Xiao's mind. Lin Xiao felt that his brain was about to explode in an instant. Everything about mapo tofu seemed to have been hammered into his brain. A moment later, Lin Xiao was relieved because he had got the whole process of how to make mapo tofu. Then he just had to practice it several times, and the kitchen utensils that were originally in his hands had disappeared. As for why he chose the mapo tofu recipe, in fact, Lin Xiao has considered it carefully. At present, he doesn't have a lot of money on hand, and what he got is that he has a sister in his family. This sister is not his own, but his father adopted her. But the relationship between the two brothers and sisters is very good. At first, there was still some spare money at home, but after paying the severance pay to the former employees of Huanghe Tower, the remaining money was only enough to eat for herself. My sister has already gone out to find a part-time job to subsidize her family. At that time, Lin Xiao was willing to gamble and fight with Yamano Shimazu not only because of his father's hatred, but also because he didn't want his sister to work part-time so hard. In desperation, Lin Xiao chose the mapo tofu with the cheapest raw materials. Although he didn't earn much money, he could win by quantity, which was Lin Xiao's original plan. Although everything is still so bad when he first arrived in this world, it is not a big problem for Lin Xiao, who used to be a planer. He believes he can solve all the problems, and he is still waiting to meet Shizaki Kuangsan again. Lin Xiao arrived at a relatively small apartment, which was the only inheritance left by his father. As his father was also from China, he loved to buy houses, but the place he lived in was very cozy, so there was not much money left. Therefore, Lin Xiao and his cheap sister did not wander on the streets. I'm back. Lin Xiao slowly pushed open the door of his apartment, which was surprisingly quiet, as if no one was living there. Lin Xiao pondered to himself whether it was his sister who had not returned, but he quickly overturned this conclusion because he heard the sound of flowing water in the bathroom. Originally, my younger sister was taking a shower. In my original impression, my younger sister was an excellent student in sports and learning. She often ranked among the top in school exams and was simply a role model for students. Lin Xiao returned to his room and changed into casual clothes. He then took out a glass of cola from the fridge, watching TV while slowly thinking about how to carry out his plan for the revival of the Yellow Crane Tower tomorrow. The sound of water in the bathroom began to gradually decrease, and a head of light purple long hair crawled out from the crack in the door. Next, I saw a pair of light brown eyes, with a curvy figure and a slender and straight leg shape. She rubbed her long hair with a dry towel and glanced at Lin Xiao, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV. She said coldly, "Are you back?" Lin Xiao was startled by the sudden greeting. He was lost in the plan to revitalize the Yellow Crane Tower when he was interrupted by such a voice. Lin Xiao turned around and almost dropped his chin to the ground. Surprisingly, his younger sister was Xue from My Youth Love Story Has Problems. Isn't she originally a wealthy heiress? Why did she become the younger sister of me, a poor commoner? Hey, hello. Is this cold expression really a good relationship between siblings? So, does this Lin Xiao have any misconceptions about having good relationships? I'm back. Lin Xiao's voice seemed a bit sluggish, and he was simply overwhelmed by the massive amount of information. Drinking cola in the middle of the night will make you fat, Xue said with a hint of disgust as she glanced at the cola in Lin Xiao's hand. Well, I was a bit thirsty when I just came back, Lin Xiao explained dryly, although it sounded unconvincing. I have something I want to discuss with you. Suddenly, Lin Xiao's expression changed and he became serious. Xue looked at Lin Xiao, who suddenly had a serious expression, and a strange feeling swept through her heart. Is this really her impulsive older brother? Why does it suddenly look a bit different? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Snow is the cutest. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Snow rubbed her hair and sat opposite Lin Xiao, putting on a serious expression, indicating that you were speaking. Snow, I want to open my father's Yellow Crane Tower again. Lin Xiao's expression was extremely serious. Brother, is it because your father's death dealt a heavy blow to you? We no longer have the right to use the Yellow Crane Tower, and my father has already exported it. Snow sighed and didn't want to mention this matter. Lin Xiao took out a piece of paper from his pocket, which was the right to use the Yellow Crane Tower that he had won back today. I have won back the right to use the Yellow Crane Tower, Lin Xiao said slowly. Snow looked at the paper and suddenly her eyes began to be filled with tears. She tried to lift her head so that tears wouldn't stay, but tears still flowed down her face. Brother still likes to come and go alone so much. After saying that, Xuanai returned to her room without looking back. Lin Xiao suddenly became at a loss. Isn't it something to be happy about when he won back the right to use his own restaurant? Why did Xue cry and return to her room? Lin Xiao had never encountered such a thing before, and suddenly couldn't calm down. But he still arrived at the door of Snow's room and knocked on it, saying, Snow, we have already retrieved what originally belonged to us. This should be a joyful thing. Why are you crying? Lin Xiao asked with concern. My older brother has always been like this since I was young. No matter what happens, he always does it silently and then takes on all the pressure himself. I am your sister, and I will worry. Snow no longer has a father, and I don't want to have an older brother anymore. Snow's voice was slightly tearful, softening Lin Xiao's heart. Originally, Xue was worried about her own safety, which is why she got angry. Lin Xiao originally thought he had become an emotionless machine, because he was single all year round and engaged in the job of solving problems, which made his heart numb long ago. So when Snow spoke out his words of concern, he once again felt the strong beating in his heart, proving that he was still alive and that someone was caring for him. Lin Xiao knocked on the door and said, Snow, may I come in? Brother hates it the most, I don't want to see you, Xue said with a slightly angry and tearful tone. But my brother wants to see Snow, I'm coming in. Lin Xiao gently pushed open Snow's door and slowly walked in. Snow didn't turn on the lights in the room, just squatted on the bedside with her calves in her arms. Lin Xiao's heart twitched when he saw such a lonely Snow. It turned out that he was so careless that he could hurt his lovely sister so deeply. Lin Xiao walked slowly to Xuanai, squatted down, and gently hugged Xuanai's head. A refreshing fragrance after bathing wafted into his nose, which suddenly made Lin Xiao feel extremely relieved. Xuana, my brother swears in the future that no matter what you do, you will definitely discuss with Xuana in advance before doing it. Lin Xiao slowly embraced Xuana into his arms and said seriously. Xue did not resist, slowly leaned against Lin Xiao's chest and said with a hint of tears, "Really? Really?" Lin Xiao asked Xuana's eyes to face him after speaking. Lin Xiao smiled and touched Snow's head. "Snow in our house is the cutest. If we cry anymore, she won't be beautiful." Xuana had never been so affectionately touched by her brother before, and suddenly felt a little embarrassed. "Humph, Xuana wouldn't have become unattractive," she said. Lin Xiao looked at Xuana, who suddenly became proud and coquettish, and laughed happily. He knew that because of this, his relationship with his sister had become much closer, no longer the feeling of estrangement. "Alright, Snow is the cutest in the world. Come out, brother really has something to discuss with you." Lin Xiao took Snow's hand and pulled her out of her small room without lights on. Xuana's face was clearly marked with tears, but the pear blossom with rain really made Lin Xiao feel heartbroken. The two of them sat shoulder to shoulder on the sofa this time. Lin Xiao said solemnly. "First of all, I would like to apologize to my lovely sister. Brother shouldn't have gone on a dark halberd eating with others without consulting with her. I'm sorry. Secondly, I hope my dear Snow sister can preserve our father's greatest wealth left to us, the Yellow Crane Tower." Lin Xiao then handed over the land deed of the Yellow Crane Tower to Snow's sister. Snow suppressed a smile and said, "Then my sister will reluctantly forgive you." "Thank you for your kindness, sister," Lin Xiao said with a smile, not mind joking with his own sister. After a while of playing, Xue said somewhat melancholy, "Although we have taken back the Yellow Crane Tower, the masters have all resigned, and it is difficult for us to restore the glory of the Yellow Crane Tower before." Speaking of which, Lin Xiao's originally relaxed expression became extremely serious. "I originally wanted to discuss this matter with you. I wanted to promote my father's Yellow Crane Tower once again. Brother, I remember your culinary skills have always been third-rate. Although I don't know how you won against Yamano Shimazu, it's still too difficult for you to support the Yellow Crane Tower," Xue said without hesitation. Lin Xiao's face was instantly filled with embarrassment, realizing that his original cooking skills were only at a third rate. "It's really embarrassing to be looked down upon by my adorable younger sister, Snow. Your brother's cooking skills have started to climb step by step." Lin Xiao wouldn't say he has a system to help him. "That's okay. Since my brother wants to reopen the Yellow Crane Tower, there must be a signature dish. So, let me try a signature dish first, my brother." Xuanai said the key without hesitation. "Is there any bean curd in our house?" Lin Xiao didn't talk nonsense. He was just trying to taste the mapo tofu he had just learned from the system. "There are still some ingredients at home. What do you want to do, brother?" Xue looked curiously at her third-rate brother who really wanted to cook for her. "Of course, it's the famous dish, mapo tofu, that my father mentioned before." After saying that, Lin Xiao went to the refrigerator, opened the refrigerator and looked at the ingredients inside. He found that the inside was quite well prepared, and it was not a problem to finish a course of mapo tofu. Lin Xiao took the scarf hanging on the wall, picked up the kitchen knife placed next to the chopping board, and said grandly, "My dear Princess Xuanai, come and try my mapo tofu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Sweating Profusely. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lin Xiaozai recalled the recipe of mapo tofu given to him by the system. As a person who is still a third-rate chef, he must find several breakthrough points to make a mapo tofu that meets the public taste. The recipe given to him by the system is not just one mapo tofu, but several different flavors. This time, what Lin Xiao wants to try is Luangxing's dream mapo tofu in some Chinese. The key point of this dream mapo tofu is that the original meat ingredients are replaced by soybeans. As for why he chose this approach, it was because Lin Xiao realized that he didn't have much funds to use. If he planned to open a restaurant, he couldn't afford the cost of ingredients alone. So his idea is to start with the set meal. Since he had already made up his mind, when he picked up the kitchen knife in his hand, his whole demeanor changed. He was focused and cold, which was a habit of his profession for many years and could not change for a while. Xue had never seen such a Lin Xiao before. When cutting tofu, Lin Xiao felt like a different person, with sharp swordsmanship but steady and not floating at all. It's hard for Xue to imagine that this is really her older brother who used to be a third-rate chef. Lin Xiao's attention is now focused on this mapo tofu. As the most popular dish in Chinese cuisine, the several points that need to be done must be spicy, hot and fresh, and the smoothness of the taste is also very important. 10 minutes later, under the control of Lin Xiao Riyihuo, he finally tried to finish this mapo tofu for the first time. The system gave the mapo tofu 85 points. After all, it was the first time to do it. Lin Xiao was very satisfied. So dear Snow is the princess, let's try this mapo tofu. Lin Xiao smiled and brought mapo tofu to Snow. Xue has never seen dishes with such bright colors before. In her impression, it seems that her father Lin Ping has never made such a red-to-white dish like Lin Xiao. Fragrances kept pounding Snow's nose, and Snow felt like she was in a huge furnace. Just smelling the fragrance, her saliva was about to spread. Xu and I took a spoon and put a spoonful of mapo tofu into her mouth. Lin Xiao stared intently at Xue Na's reaction. Suddenly, Xue picked up her hands and covered her mouth. She felt a volcano erupting inside her mouth, and after the eruption, waves of fresh flavor lingered on her taste buds, unable to dissipate for a long time. She quickly scooped another spoonful and put it into her mouth. The volcano erupted once again, and she was sweating profusely. Her pajamas, which had just taken a shower, were stuck to her by her sweat, and her whole body was highlighted by the pajamas. But the spoon in my hand can't stop no matter what. Lin Xiaoxin watched with satisfaction as Xue was enjoying her cuisine over there, and suddenly felt that having such a younger sister's life was also quite colorful. Xue Nai ate mapo tofu very quickly. She ate it all in 3 minutes. She looked at Lin Xiao's teasing gaze at herself and suddenly felt a little shy. She realized that her brother seemed to have eaten nothing and was completely eaten by herself. They didn't mean it, Xue said softly, her eyes hesitant to look at Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao reached out to touch Xue Na's head and smiled, saying, "Is it delicious?" Snow's eyes seemed to have a star twinkling, nodding desperately, "I've never eaten such delicious tofu food before." So what Snow means is that brother can reopen Dad's restaurant, Lin Xiao said with a spoiled expression on his face. Of course, I believe my brother can do it, but we don't have a lot of funds at the moment. Even if you want to rebuild the restaurant, it's not that easy, brother. Snow suddenly became worried, realizing that she couldn't help her brother in any way. I remember our restaurant was a 3-story building, right? Lin Xiao searched in his own memory and found out that his restaurant was actually quite large, it was a 3-story building. That's right, my father used to hire a lot of people, Snow nodded earnestly. So I'll open the first floor first, and the 2 upper floors will be temporarily closed off. We'll wait until we make enough money to open the 2 upper floors, Lin Xiao said thoughtfully, forming a pretty good plan in his mind. But brother, our restaurant is located across from Yuanyue College. Back then, my father fought against the main general of the Chinese Cuisine Research Association in Yuanyue College 3 times and won 2 victories before opening the restaurant. Xuanai said cautiously, because he was also watching the PK match from the side, so his impression was particularly profound. Are you worried that the Chinese cuisine research team from Far Moon will come and cause trouble? Lin Xiao said, breaking through the snow. Brother, Yuan Yu is currently one of the top 10 leaders in the Chinese Cuisine Research Association. Xuana suddenly lost her confidence. After all, this title is too big. Lin Xiao smiled and scraped Xuana's nose, saying, then you should believe in your brother's strength even more. If even the younger sister doesn't believe in him, how can he be confident in winning? Xuanai blushed and stuttered slightly, saying, people. Of course, they believe that my brother has no problem. Alright, let's go wash it again. Look at the sweat on your body, your clothes are sticking, Lin Xiao joked. It's my brother's fault that he made mapo tofu so delicious. I went to take a bath. Xu and I went to his room to get a suit of clothes and ran to the bathroom to take a bath. Lin Xiao's mouth slightly raised, realizing that his life was still quite good now. With such a lovely sister, as long as the restaurant could be opened next, the problem would not be too big. Although the people from the Far Moon Chinese Cuisine Research Association may be a bit troublesome, Lin Xiao is eager for them to come and cause trouble. As long as he eats halberds, the judges will randomly appear, which means he has another chance to see Shizaki Kuangsan. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Betting your hair. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother, what's wrong with you? Why is your face so pale? Xue asked Lin Xiao with concern. Lin Xiao ran all the way from home to the store, how could his face not be pale? He had to arrive before Snow arrived at the store, otherwise he would leave a very serious flaw. It's okay, it's just that there were a lot of guests today, so I'm just getting over it now. Lin Xiao quickly waved his hand and said he had no problem. He absolutely couldn't let his sister find out that he had stolen her stockings. Brother, you're amazing. We've run out of ingredients today. Xue walked to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator, only to find it empty. Lin Xiao immediately lifted his chest with pride and said, that's not it, it doesn't matter whose brother it is. Snow laughed happily, her pale purple eyes squinting into a crescent moon, which was truly beautiful. In fact, Snow has not been so happy in her heart for a long time. Since her father passed away, her brother's mind has been full of revenge, which has made everyone in the family anxious. Snow really likes these positive and upward days now. Hey, boss, have a mapo tofu, said a short, blonde and yellow-haired high school student. Lin Xiao turned around, his pupils contracting for a moment. As the head of the Chinese Cuisine Research Association at Yuanyue Academy, he had never expected to arrive so soon. Sorry, all the ingredients for today have been used up, Lin Xiao replied with a smile. Ah, really? Do you mean I can't eat today? Ji Zhao stared at Lin Xiao with a pair of dead fish eyes and asked. I'm afraid so, I hope the customers come early tomorrow, Lin Xiaomi smiled. He knew that things would never end so easily. This was a test by Yuan Yu on him. If you want to open a store opposite Yuan Yu's door, then you need to show the corresponding level, otherwise it's better to close the door early. That's no good. I just want to eat today. I asked someone to deliver the ingredients. After saying that, Ji Zhao took out his mobile phone and made a phone call. I asked someone to send some of the materials for making mapo tofu to the new yellow crane tower opposite the entrance of the college. After finishing speaking, he hung up the phone and sat on the bench, leaning his back against the table, looking at Lin Xiao with a smile and saying, if it doesn't taste good, you'll have to close the door. The tone was plain, not like a threat at all, but more like a notification. If it's delicious, what are you going to pay for it? Lin Xiao is not a salted fish that can be slaughtered, but he knows very well about Zhuo Jizhao. It's a bit interesting, you dare to make demands on me. Do you know who I am? Jiu Ji Zhao stood up and looked at Lin Xiao, although he was still very short. Of course I know, Jiu Ji Zhao is the main general of the Chinese Cuisine Research Association at Yuanyue Academy and currently holds the 8th position of the top 10. Lin Xiao reported the origin of Jiu Ji Zhao in a concise manner. I know you dare to make any demands. Tell me, what do you want? Jiu Ji Zhao came empty-handed, with nothing valuable in his hands except for a phone. Kengda system, have you seen it? In front of you is Jiu Ji Zhao. Does he have what you want on him? Lin Xiao looked at Jiu Ji Zhao and asked his own system in his mind. Oh, master, why do I want his things? The system replied with a disdainful expression. Hey, he's at least the 8th seed of the current top 10. Doesn't he have anything you're interested in? Lin Xiao seriously suspected that his system was a lily, and he didn't want to keep following the rules for a long time. Ah, master, you're so annoying. If you can get all his hair off, I'll replace it with a C-grade kitchen utensil for you, the system said proudly. Transaction. Lin Xiao's mind was firmly established, and his gaze fixed on the yellow and golden hair of Jiu Zhao Ji. I don't want anything else, just your hair, Lin Xiao said. My hair. Damn it, no matter how delicious you make it, what does it have to do with my hair? After a while, Zhao Ji looked bewildered. What kind of sleazy trick is this? You can bet on my hair. Don't say you don't dare. I have already made an offer. Lin Xiao smiled and looked at me for a long time, secretly roast that his system was so flawed that he wanted someone's hair. Shorty, promise him. A girl with glasses, blue hair and fried dough twists braids came in from outside. Damn it, Ning Ning, who are you talking about as a dwarf? I clearly heard who the person was after a while. Whoever is the shortest here is the dwarf, Ning Ning pushed her glasses and said calmly. Lin Xiao and Xue immediately chuckled to themselves, maliciously glancing at Jiu Zhao Ji. Are you here to dismantle my platform? I noticed clearly that everyone's eyes were on him. I'm here to help you. The higher-ups are afraid you may not be reliable, so let me watch over you. Ning Ning hugged her shoulders and looked down at Jiu Zhao Ji from a high position. Who said I'm unreliable? After a long time, I looked up at Ning Ning with my head up and chest straight. I said it, Ning Ning replied. Damn it, do you think I'm unreliable? I roared angrily according to Ji. My 6th seat, Ning Ning said. Damn it, I'm still the main general of the Far Moon Chinese Cuisine Research Association, you know. I quickly lost another title according to Ji. My 6th seat, Ning Ning said. Damn it, I fought against C. Ingshi Shiji in 1st grade. My 6th seat. Can you stop talking about your 6th seat? I am taller than you. Forget it, you should continue talking about your 6th seat. For a long time, I covered my chest according to Ji, almost unable to catch my breath. Excuse me, do you agree to this condition? Otherwise, I'll have to go back from work to cook for my sister. Lin Xiao quickly stood up and let them argue like this, probably it's already dark. I made the decision for him and agreed, Ning Ning said calmly. Lin Xiao looked at Jiu Zhao Ji with a look of what you said. Good men don't fight with women. I don't believe how delicious you can make mapo tofu. I'll take the gamble. I was too lazy to argue with Ning Ning for a long time, so I agreed. But if you lose, please immediately close the restaurant. Garbage is not allowed at the entrance of Yuanyue's school. Ning Ning pushed her glasses, showing her sharpness. As you wish, but if I win, please ask him to give me all the hair on his head. Lin Xiao pointed at me for a long time, his momentum burst out. Okay, that's the decision. In an instant, sparks splattered from both sides. It has to be said that the efficiency of Yuanyue School Park is very high. In less than 10 minutes, all the materials for the 23 methods of mapo tofu were brought over. So, let's get started. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Be careful of your head. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Lin Xiao randomly selects from a pile of ingredients. In fact, he has no choice at all. What he is proficient in now is Luangxing's dream of mapo tofu in Zhonghua Yifan. Quickly, he picked out what he needed from the pile of ingredients. It has to be said that Yuanyue is truly the #1 culinary college in Neon, with incredibly fresh ingredients inside. Obviously, they only want to see if the cuisine you make in your store can meet the standards of opening a store at Yuanyue's doorstep, and are not deliberately trying to find fault. Lin Xiaozai carefully checked the materials and found no problems, then came to the chef's table with a knife. For a moment, his gaze became very profound, not at all like the usual gentle gaze. Xuenai looks at his brother nervously. Although his brother's mapo tofu is really delicious, he doesn't know whether he can get into the eyes of Yuanyue's 10 heroes. Ning Ning and Zhuo Jizhao couldn't help but nod slightly when they saw the changes after Lin Xiao picked up the knife. As a chef, the most basic skill is knife skills. If the knife skills are not up to standard, it is basically impossible to make any delicious dishes. Lin Xiao's unnecessary thoughts have been completely eliminated by him. He used to use a surgical knife, but now he uses a kitchen knife, but they all have the most basic requirement, which is precision. With a flash of knife light, the original piece of tofu had already broken into 2 sections. Lin Xiao's hand speed erupted again, and the knife light exploded. 3 seconds later, the tofu flew apart and turned into small square pieces. The knife is so fast and precise, you can tell at a glance that it's someone who often wields knives, Ning Ning couldn't help but say. The knife technique is good, I don't know how well I understand the material. After a while, I nodded in agreement with Ning Ning's viewpoint. He uses soybeans, but he doesn't use meat to make mapo tofu, which is interesting. After a long time, I obviously noticed some details of Lin Xiao. It is obvious that I have more say in Sichuan cuisine after a long time. At this stage, I don't think it's strange that he can take these ingredients, which means that he has thoroughly studied this, mapo tofu, and is not afraid of you playing tricks. The next step is to put the key to the pot. You must master the heat and not boil the tofu until it is old. Otherwise, this dish of mapo tofu will be a defective one. Lin Xiao silently recited the wishful fire in his heart, and a faint flame rose up in his heart. Flame is the foundation of cooking, and any dish that wants to cook delicious must have very good control over the flame. Although Lin Xiao's Riihuo is only LV1, it is more than enough to deal with mapo tofu. After all, the upper limit of C.level recipes is so high. The rising flame fell into mapo tofu like a giant dragon, and a trace of rich aroma began to diffuse. This fire control is simply perfect. After a long time, I couldn't help but want to exclaim in admiration, but just the thought of if this person made really delicious food, wouldn't his hair be either too good or too bad? Ning Ning remained silent while observing Lin Xiao's performance and the hair of Jiao Zhao Ji. In Ning Ning's eyes, I had already noticed that she was looking for a place to start with scissors. Finally, simmer over low heat and collect the juice. Lin Xiao's movements were completed in one go, making people unable to resist shouting, "Okay." Lin Xiao came to Ning Ning and Zhuo Jizhao with 2 pots of mapo tofu that he had just finished. Try it. Quick, system, tell me how much this time it will cost. Lin Xiao's heart was roaring. Master, this time, I'm going to be 91. The system took a look at Lin Xiao's mapo tofu, and had to say that it was very attractive. At this moment, Lin Xiao was full of confidence. Xue was on the side and didn't dare to take a breath, because she knew her brother's work would affect their future life. If denied by Shiji, it means it's impossible to save Dad's restaurant again. Xue's fingers were tightly clenched, and she could hear the sound of her heart beating faster herself. Ning Ning picked up the spoon and gently scooped a spoonful of mapo tofu into her mouth. "It's so hot," was Ning Ning's first thought, but why did she want to chew it so much? But when she wanted to chew it, the tofu had already slid down. Ning Ning was searching for what the chewy ingredient was, and she scooped up another spoonful and put it in her mouth. However, before she could find it, she swallowed it again, and the spiciness suddenly erupted. Damn it, why can't it stop? Ning Ning's spoon was dancing in the air, and soon her plate had already bottomed out. "I can't figure out what material is at work." Ning Ning snatched the portion of my photo album for a long time and continued to eat. "Although it's very spicy, it still can't stop. What's going on with this freshness and chewiness? It's the fragrance of plants, and this chewiness is like soybeans, no wonder it's so fresh." Ning Ning understood the principle and put down the spoon in her hand, picked up the tissue next to her and started wiping her mouth. After a while, I stared at her in a daze. Is this still Ning Ning, who only takes a small bite of everything? One person killed 2 pots of mapo tofu. Hey, you've eaten my portion too. How should I make a judgment? After looking at Ji's reaction, I knew that his hair had gone bad today. Sorry, it's impolite. Ning Ning didn't pay any attention to the way Lin Xiao and Xue looked at her. You don't need to participate in the review, because I am the only one in this review. Ning Ning turned to Zhao Ji and said. I don't agree, why can't I participate in the review? After a while, I jumped up from my chair according to the rules. Those who participate in the bet cannot participate in the evaluation. Ning Ning grabbed Zhao Ji's shoulder and pressed him back onto the chair. Are you sure it's not because you ate too much and gave me my portion, and then wanted to kick me out? I began my final desperate struggle according to Ji. I have always been absolutely fair, and you must avoid suspicion. This matter concerns the reputation of Shiji. Ning Ning picked up a pair of scissors from the table and stood behind Zhao Ji. Speak to Lin Xiao. Congratulations, you're qualified. According to the agreement, this guy's hair belongs to you. After saying that, Ning Ning's scissors began to dance. Lin Xiao secretly praised himself on the side, truly worthy of being the 6th seed of the 10 heroes. The scissors were used fluently, making him feel inferior. I had been crying for a long time, just like the rules. Now a pair of scissors are flying around his head. If I accidentally poke my own head, it would be more than worth the loss. Ning Ning, I remember you now. I will definitely file a complaint against you. I want to report you for public and private revenge, I roared according to Ji. Dwarf, sit still and be careful of your head. Ning Ning remained expressionless and didn't even take Jumi's threat to heart. Snow covered her mouth and secretly smiled on the side. Lin Xiao leaned on Snow's shoulder and gently leaned her mouth against Snow's ear, saying, Sister, take a few photos quickly. If you miss out on this kind of black history, you won't have a chance. Xuenai's pretty face turned red. Although she and Lin Xiao appeared to be siblings, they had never made such intimate gestures from childhood to adulthood. However, she obediently took out her phone and took crazy photos of Zhao Ji. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. C+level Ice Soul Blade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you saying that the yellow crane tower across from the school gate has passed Ning Ning's test? Shizao Huane looked carefully at the few photos in his hand. Yes, Mississippi. Fei Sha hesitated for a moment and handed several other photos to Shizao Rina. Shaving and Painting Rina was taken aback. Why is this bald head so familiar in the photo? Does it look like it's my senior? Fei Sha, who is this bald person in the photo? Why does it look so familiar? Shizao Huanai was a bit unsure if she had mistaken the person. Miss, that's my senior. Fei Xia suppressed her smile, causing her stomach to ache in order not to be impolite in front of Mississippi. What's wrong with my senior, Jiuwa? Why cut her bald head? The more she looked at this bald head, the more she wanted to laugh, especially Jiuwa Ji Zhao's two lifeless fish eyes, which were almost making her laugh. My senior lost a bet with the new boss of Huanggalu, so Miss Ning cut off all of his hair and gave it to that boss. Fei Xia thought of this bet and wanted to laugh. This boss is so bad, how can I see him from now on? Senior Ning is really ruthless, and this boss is also an interesting person. We need to find a way to bring him to the far moon. Irina smiled slightly, not knowing whether it was because he saw the bald photo of me or because he remembered what Senior Ning might have done to me. Fei Xia, let's go see that restaurant, said Irina, standing up from her seat as if she had made up her mind. Miss, you still have 14 dishes to taste this afternoon. This is your daily homework, Fei Xia reminded. Let's just pretend to be lazy once in a while. I'll go talk to my grandfather, said Irina as she stood up and walked towards her grandfather's room. The first floor of Huanghe Tower. Brother, why did you hang this ugly photo in such a prominent position in the lobby of our restaurant? Would the guests be unwilling to come for a meal? Snow looked at the long bald photo with some concern. Ah, sister, you don't understand that anymore. Brother's move is called the celebrity effect. You see, even the 10 heroes of Yuanyue have acknowledged the strength of our store. How could customers be unwilling to come and eat? Lin Xiao looked at the photo with satisfaction, and in his eyes, it was simply his money tree. Brother, although Jiuwa Ji Zhao is indeed very impressive, no one can recognize him now as he looks like this. Xuena was still a bit worried. Don't worry, your brother has already thought of this. After he finished speaking, he took out his phone from his pocket and opened the playback software. Inside was the video of Jiu-I being shaved off. Brother, you're good or bad, Xue watched the video and secretly smiled. My younger sister's words are not right, but my older brother is just being cautious. After all, when someone comes to ruin the venue, how can they just leave after smashing it? Isn't it embarrassing for us? Now, let's borrow his face to help promote our yellow crane tower, which can be considered worthy of his big bald head. Lin Xiao watched this video with satisfaction, replacing the original advertisement animation for recommending dishes in the yellow crane tower with a video of me being cut off by Ning for a long time. Hello, system. As agreed, I have already taken over all the hair that has been shining on me for a long time. Quick, what can I change? Lin Xiao had 100 white swans taking off in his heart. Choose it yourself. After speaking, the system pulled out a C.level kitchen utensil on the interface. Lin Xiao picked for a while and found that the effectiveness of these C.grade kitchenware is quite average, just increasing their freshness by 10%. Lin Xiaozhen was not interested in such a low bonus. Hey, system, are you hiding your secrets? What I gave you is the hair that I took care of for a long time, and you just gave me these pieces of junk. How you despise me for taking care of for a long time. Lin Xiao could not help complaining that he could feel that the system must still have something good hidden in its hands. Master, you begged me for this exchange. If I were willing to exchange with you, it would be good. I'm also picky. The system arrogantly scolded Lin Xiao. Even if you don't give me face, you still have to give me face, right? You know, I'll have to help you go crazy with Sans private small items in the future. Lin Xiao also learned to behave well and learned about the system's hobby. He started to coax and trick some practical things out first. For the sake of the owner's consideration of this system, I'll give you this C+level ice soul blade. After speaking, the system pulled out a ice soul blade and threw it to Lin Xiao. No matter how Lin Xiao called her, she didn't react. After careful consideration, Lin Xiaozai couldn't recall which anime also had an ice soul blade. If you can't remember Lin Xiao, forget it. Anyway, their ice soul blade must be a divine weapon, and I don't know how effective this ice soul blade is. Lin Xiao opened the panel about this ice soul blade, not looking or knowing. At first glance, he was startled. The system really gave face this time. Although the ice soul knife is only C+ level and not up to B. level, its attributes are definitely quite practical. Firstly, when using this knife on ingredients, it can increase their freshness by 20%. Just this one has already exploded the several C. level kitchenware he just saw. The most crucial thing is that this ice soul blade also has an additional attribute, which is to increase the freshness of fish ingredients by 30% when used. You should know that making a delicious fish is not considered pickled. A fresh fish directly affects various results. And with Lin Xiao's knife in hand, he can be considered to have an advantage in fish making. Brother, what are you giggling at? Snow saw her brother standing in the same place, not knowing where he was giggling, and saliva began to flow down the corner of her mouth. Lin Xiao suddenly realized that he was a bit out of control and quickly changed the topic. Snow, what do you want to eat tonight? Brother will make it for you. It's okay, as long as it's done by my brother, I like to eat it. Snow looked at Lin Xiao with a happy expression on her face, and her brother finally looked a bit like a brother. But looking at my brother's happy expression, I suddenly remembered changing clothes in the room before I came today. When I went out, I saw my brother's shoes in the foyer, and I felt a hot breeze with my bare feet. Xue shook his head, believing that his brother wouldn't do such a twisted thing. Lin Xiao didn't know that his theft of stockings in Xuenai's room had been discovered by Xuenai, and he was thinking about how to exchange something useful from the system. Moreover, he also received intelligence from the system that as long as he activated the Food Halberd, the judges would randomly select from the super time and space. Lin Xiao still remembers Kuangsan and must find a way to bring him to his side. Lin Xiao secretly made up his mind to pay attention, but his current methods are too limited, and he must obtain more kitchen utensils and recipes from the chef. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 11. The system is indeed a lily. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yamano Shimizu trembled as he knelt in front of a man with silver black hair, holding a transparent high-legged glass in his hand. Dark red wine flowed inside the glass. He stood up and walked up to Yamano Shimizu, saying, "Are you saying that Ning Ning, who is one of the 10 heroes of the Far Moon, agrees with the boy who opened the new Yellow Crane Tower?" "Sir, I thought with that kid's level, even if we didn't take action, he would still be defeated by the 10 heroes of the Far Moon. How could I know that kid actually managed to pass the test?" Yamano Shimizu dared not lift his head, sweating profusely. "Because of your own initiative, you lost the Yellow Crane Tower that we had already obtained. How are you going to compensate for this?" The man walked behind Yamano Shimizu, his tone light, but the dignity inside was not to be violated. Yamano Shimizu pressed his forehead against the floor and said with a trembling tone, "Please give me another chance. I will definitely make that kid look good this time." The man with silver black hair took a sip of the red wine from his glass and said, "This time, I want you to use your life as a bet on the Dark Eater to win over that kid." "Sir, This recipe book was won by me from a 3-star restaurant in France. I'll give you 3 days to prepare. The theme of this halberd is still your specialty, fish. The man threw down a recipe and turned around to leave. Yamano Shimizu picked up the recipe book and his heart was trembling. The recipe given by the man was definitely the top recipe in the world. "Lin Xiao, this time I'm going to take back everything I lost." Yamano Shimizu found a scream like laughter. "Miss, to be frank, this kind of place for ordinary people to eat is not suitable for you to come," Fei Sha intervened. "Fei Sha, don't you think it's interesting to see where my senior's head was shaved off for a long time?" said Irina. "In the future, when I see you for a long time, my senior can say that I have been to the shop where you were shaved off, and the taste is very ordinary. It's really interesting that you were shaved off in that place. A little demon appeared on the head of Irina. As soon as Fei Sha heard Hualina's words, she suddenly understood that she was preparing to find fault. As long as she could find a thorn in this shop, she could find her voice in front of Senior Jiu in the future. Miss is wise. Fei Sha's gaze instantly showed a look of admiration. Besides, don't you think opening a store across from my industry doesn't require my approval? Irina chuckled softly, and that was her ultimate goal. They arrived at the entrance of the Yellow Crane Tower. Don't, my hair. Isn't this a restaurant? How come someone is cutting their hair here? It's strange to see Nerina searching everywhere for the source of this sound. Looking up, I happened to see a video of Ning Ning holding scissors and cutting Jiu my hair. Fei Sha and Hualina have a black line, and the owner of this shop is a bit too naughty. Entering the lobby, there is a platform with 3 sticks of incense inserted on it, and 2 lines of characters written next to it. Yellow Crane Tower Mapo Tofu has been recognized by me for a long time. Then a bald photo of me was hung on the wall. Miss, have we gone to the wrong place? How do I feel like this place is like a black shop? Fei Sha looked around at the strange atmosphere and felt a little scared. It should be here that I dare to use the reputation of Shiji for advertising. It's really audacious. If I don't teach him a lesson, I'll teach him a lesson. Irina was very angry. The boss didn't even consider Shiji and did such a vulgar advertisement. Snow and Lin Xiao finished packing up in the kitchen and were ready to go home. Besides some tables, chairs, and benches, there were no more valuable items in the store, and the ingredients had already been used up. If they wanted to eat, they had to go home and cook. Suddenly, Lin Xiao heard a voice coming from the door. He pushed open the door of the kitchen and shouted to the outside, "It's closed. Tomorrow morning, come to eat Mapo Tofu, which is also recognized by Yuanhua Shiji. Ordinary people, who do you think came to your restaurant for dinner? Hurry up and entertain us." Fei Sha saw the owner of this restaurant so arrogant that she dared to ask Miss Irina to come back tomorrow. She simply didn't take Miss Irina seriously. Damn it, isn't this Shaving and Painting Rina and Shin Hu Fei Sha? Just as I was about to doze off, someone brought me a pillow. Lin Xiao's face remained expressionless, and his mood began to shout wildly. "System, come out quickly to pick up the guests," Lin Xiao roared at the system. "What are you doing, perverted master? They have already given you a decent kitchen utensil. What else do you want?" The system woke up with sleepy eyes, and through the eyes of Lin Xiao, it saw the new household Fei Sha and the Shaving Painting Rina. "Hurry up, you're interested in the 2 of them. I'll find a way to help you get them over." Lin Xiao, like Snow White's stepmother, began to seduce the system. "Damn it. Master, hurry up and take off all their clothes, I want them all." The system was clearly more excited than Lin Xiao, and seeing these 2 people was like seeing gold. Xiao Nizi is so impatient, these 2 guys are not easy to deal with. Let's pick one first, and then we'll get to know each other slowly. Lin Xiao began to bargain. In his eyes, these 2 people were a moving treasure trove. How could they clean up the treasure trove so quickly? The master's words make sense, it's a long and steady stream. So, let me lower my demands today and paint the shirt that Rina is wearing. The system nodded, feeling that the master's words made sense, but it was just too tempting. Let's talk about the price of the shirt on her first, so as not to argue later. Lin Xiao firmly took the initiative. The system looked perplexed, always feeling like it had fallen for the master's scheme, but Shaving and Painting Rina didn't want to let go in front of him. Then let's switch to AB.level recipe. The system made a difficult decision. I also said that you are not a pervert. The hair that has been photographed for a long time is worth a grade C kitchen utensil, and the shirt that has been painted by Linai is worth a grade B cookbook. The system, I want to report your favoritism. Lin Xiao said crazily that this is serious sexism. You know, I was very upset that I had to waste so much effort to get the hair that has been photographed for a long time. It was sold so cheaply. Humph, I don't care, master. Anyway, I agreed on the price from the beginning, and I'll wait for good news. After saying that, the system slipped away, not caring about how Lin Xiao would paint Lina's shirt next. Damn it, just slip away like this. Forget it, I'll have something to talk about when I have it. Lin Xiao let out a lewd laugh, realizing that he was just too smart. Two beautiful women, I'm sorry, the small shop has already closed, and the materials have been used up. Everything has been packed up. Why don't you take a look tomorrow morning? Lin Xiao smiled and began to put on the set. Boss, who do you think we are? We came to your restaurant to save face, but you actually let us go back. Fei Sha was angry, and the boss was so ignorant. If you really want to eat, you can do it. I still have some ingredients at home, why don't I go to my house and make them for you? Lin Xiao's face showed a puzzled expression, and I couldn't do anything about it. Brother, you can't take these two unfamiliar women home. Xue was a bit dissatisfied. The house at home was his own and his brother's cottage, how could the unfamiliar women be allowed in? Let's go eat at your house. Irina was angry, daring to have a shop that kept pushing around like this. It was like taking her tongue out of her mouth. Humph, when the time came to finish eating, give a negative review and let the shop go bankrupt. Miss, isn't that too good? Fei Sha thought for a moment and said. If I say it's okay, then it's okay, said Irina with a firm attitude. Okay, you guys come with me, Lin Xiao said with a frown on his face, but he still agreed. In fact, he had already started laughing wildly in his heart, looking like his scheme had succeeded. When you come to my house, these things on you are not yet in my bag. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.